You're watching F5. We are at Black Hat USA 2023. We are here in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. F5 can be found at booth 2240. And we're here all week. And right now I'm actually joined by our friends from WWT. I've got David and Clint with me. I'll get you guys to introduce yourselves. I will start with David.
So David Hominy, I'm a technical solutions architect in our global engineering team, and app, API, and workload security, and XF5 are myself.
Clint Huffaker, I'm a practice manager on our global solutions and architecture team, focused on everything app, API, and workload security.
Awesome. Okay, so we got the guys to talk to, and we got a former F5er actually to talk to as well, so this should be a good conversation. One of the topics that we wanted to get into, and why I really love talking to partners, is this is where the rubber meets the road, right? Like, as a vendor, we talk about all the products and that we have and all the fancy things that we can do, but you guys are the ones that are responsible for actually making that stuff work, and you guys actually see, how people receive this kind of stuff. So a lot of talk about API security, but what are you guys actually seeing when it comes to customers actually adopting API security? Who wants to take that?
API security right now is still very nascent. People are just getting into it. So there are some companies, some customers who are really advanced, heavy in microservices and stuff like that, that are maybe going more advanced, but most of our customers don't even know the number of APIs they have. They don't know what the threat landscape is. They don't know how vulnerable they are. And so they're starting to look at things that help them discover what they have and let them know what the vulnerabilities are so that they can start to address those either through something like a WAP or going back and fixing it within the code.
Yeah, and I would say just kind of evolve on that is we know digital transformation isn't slowing down, right? More APIs are going into production every single day. The documentation generally is inaccurate or lacking or just completely non-existent at all, right? And if you look at that, it's ultimately the threat landscape that David talked about. As we know, as evolution and innovation continues at a rapid pace, we're also deploying more risk into our environments and increasing the attack surface. So as that last layer of protection before a customer or a threat actor gets to the data, the app and the APIs are really that last layer of defense but also more importantly is on the observability and visibility side. If you know they're there and you can track it and monitor it, you also have visibility on the way out. So things like business logic abuse, you can see like what are the abnormalities that's happening, how do we track that, how do we look at the data behind it, and also tie that to the applications and the APIs as well.
Yeah, really interesting. To be able to do all that kind of stuff too, you guys are touching lots of different parts of a business. Like when you're engaging with one of your clients, who do you have in the room to be able to get all of this knowledge about the environment?
So from a customer perspective, it goes from CISOs, even sometimes CIO, CTO level, because they recognize there's a problem. The board is asking them, hey, what are you doing about API security? We just saw this breach. We heard about that breach. What's going on? You're getting driven also by compliance around, can I get cyber insurance? What are you doing to protect your apps and APIs that they need to be able to answer for? And then you're also getting a mixture of developers. So the developers are more of that shift left is putting the onus on them for securing their applications. And then traditional IT security, who are a bunch of people who are like, I don't want to learn how to code. This is all new. And but I'm being forced into this. How do I address these issues? So it's really a broad spectrum of people, and you have to have the understanding of the applications and all that to really be able to talk to each of those at a different level, and they have different concerns.
Yeah, and I would add to that as a former F5 user myself in large environments is, from a consumer of F5, it's always been the developer, right? But you always dealt with network teams, security teams, ops teams. Really what's really driving the culture of DevSec Ops right now is really bringing all of these people together, right? Is you're turning developers into more security awareness people. Write secure code before you put it into production. You're turning security people to understand development. How do I back my security up, shift it left? To use that common term, is like, how do we bring things earlier in that process before production is really where we're seeing a lot of programs, as David mentioned, on like CISOs and CDOs and CSOs. You're talking across development all the way into the line of the business, into the CROs, right? Of letting them clearly identify what is my threat, attack surface, what are my threats, what are my threat actors, what do they look like, and now with developers becoming like a primary attack point, we have to make sure that leads into zero trust. It leads into identity and access. So you're kind of looking through all of those swim lanes, a very complex scenario, and those are a lot of the conversations that we're having with customers today.
Okay, so security is everybody's problem, perhaps. Awesome. Okay, so you guys have taken it also from the approach of education as well. I think users or viewers of DevCentral or followers of DevCentral actually know very well specifically about WWT's ability to train people with your labs. We've actually been able to partner with you guys on that over the years to be able to deliver some of that through the DevCentral channel. So maybe you can give us a little bit of a rundown of what you guys have and offer in your labs.
Yeah, so a lot of that's driven by what our customers are asking for us. So we have, we're doing stuff like learning paths, so to get more in that education, right? So understand, for example, ADC and what that means, so that when they get done, they're an expert of F5, at least in this area, right? So we also have a lot of stuff around AWAF, and how it is can be a component of the CI/CD pipeline to make sure that as applications are being developed, that the WAF policies are part of that process, and API, of course, is going to go right into that with, with the stuff that you guys are doing with F5XC. We've got that being worked into our ATC right now, so that we'll be able to offer that and show customers, okay, this is what F5 can do for you, and understand that this is a platform that allows you to do more than just API, right? You can extend and do a lot more with this one platform, so that way you can kind of reduce that crawl of tools.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that I would mention there is really using the ATC to accelerate the business decisions, right? Identify a clear use case. Are you doing a bake-off? Do you even need a bake-off? But it's about getting hands-on tools in a real-world environment that shows the complexities, but also real-world threats, right? So we even have our cyber range, which is really a live-fire drill where it's red teams and blue teams using different tools, including F5, in that estate to essentially use them to help identify threats and really mitigate them faster. And ultimately, it's really about just executing on a customer challenge and coming through to really result and secure business outcomes is really the driver behind the ATC.
Awesome, unique differentiator. I know when I was in operations, I had a lab. However, I could never have every single solution in that lab. You guys are able to actually have all that stuff and educate people on everything that's out there. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm not going to make any specific promises right now, but I would say look for more of that collaboration with the WWT folks as far as labs go from DevCentral. So thank you very much, David. Thank you very much, Clint, for joining me today. Again, this is F5. We are at booth 2240 here at Black Hat USA 2023. In Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay Convention Center. We're here all week, and otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Bye now.